Good evening, everyone. First of all, thanks to Leslie and all the people for putting on this discussion tonight. I think it's really important that in the aftermath of what's taken place, both Remainers and Leavers get together and do think about how we're going to take things forward. But in terms of the short time that I have available to me, I just want to touch on, I suppose, the aspect that a few other people have also touched upon already, which is the framing of this debate in racial terms. The reason why I think it's really important to look at that is because essentially, being part of an umbrella BME charity, we have about 360 BME organizations, and it includes people like the Runnymede Trust, Operation Black Vote, and others that remain nameless. But in the course of the debate, certainly there was a suggestion, a very clear suggestion that evolved that in terms of people's allegiances on which side of the debate you were on, depended upon both your attitude towards race, towards your academic achievements, towards your sophistication and kind of knowledge of how society works. And certainly in the aftermath of the vote going for leave, we now saw an upsurge, a spike, a statistical spike in racist attacks, abuse, which I think has to be acknowledged, but doesn't actually explain Brexit in itself. And I would assert that one of the problems that we have to address is the way that politics has become kind of codified in cultural terms. It's not that we're just talking about anti-racists being Remainers and racists being Leavers, but it's the whole way in which also the discussion of the white working class has taken place in respect of it. I wouldn't say it's a return to a discussion of eugenics. Francis Galton is not being waved here, there, and everywhere, but I do think that the nature of the question of who actually can participate in democracy and who can't is a very important theme that is going to stay with us. And certainly, I think Jeremy Corbyn at the moment is having a few problems in that area. But I think that the essence of what I'm saying is best captured in a quote from Lee Jasper, well-known anti-racist activist, who said, "We halted gross racism on our streets. That we halted gross racism on our streets is an undoubted fact. But our disappointment and horror, we now have to come to terms with the bitter fact that white working class communities have chosen hate over hope." So Lee, the new leader of the upper middle classes, recorded this in his blog and also said it to me on a number of occasions. And what he also said to me, just as an aside, was that, listen, Kunle, I'm not saying that every Leaver is a racist, but what I will say is this: I've never met a racist who isn't a Leaver. So the power of that idea is something that we need to address, I think, squarely. The upsurge, as I say, in terms of racist abuse and attacks, we need to explain it. Is it something that has emerged out of Brexit itself? Is it a continuum of things that were already there? Because I don't think it's good enough to just brush it under the carpet and simply see it as a manifestation that we can just wish away. I do think, in terms of my gut instincts, that it's a temporary phenomenon, and I do think that it will elapse. But the question of immigration, without a doubt, has been exploited by both sides in this debate, both Remainers and Leavers, in terms of both sidelining the working class, I would argue, and also trying to exploit divisions within the working class. So one of the things that I'm hoping will come out of this campaign is some moves towards how we actually develop unity across those lines, because increasingly there's no doubt that those divisions are going to be manipulated further, especially if, unusually, and I know that there are people in this room, there are Leavers who actually support the rights of migrants to come into this country and will defend the right of free movement, but free movement under a sovereign state. That's what we're for. And so, it's important that that message is taken to heart. In terms of, finally, how we go forward, I would agree with Brendan that there is no roadmap. I think this is a really exciting period in politics. There's uncertainty, but one thing that is certainty is we are going to be able to take back control of huge aspects of the political scene in this country. And I think that that is really, really important, that we give people a sense that you can actually influence things through the political discourse. And that's something that we haven't been able to say for a very long time.